I was in a really bad
Oh
car
yeah.
accident when I was 16. I was like T-boned by this Pontiac that just like my car lifted and I spun and I landed on a sidewalk. And I remember like when they hit me, I had my seatbelt on, but like I was driving. I was like a brand new driver at 16. And I went sideways and everything was in slow motion and my phone, my little flip phone Nokia thing was like floating in the air and everything was like very slow motion. I saw the airbag come out of the car and all I remember is like looking down at the radio and being like, why the fuck am I listening to this radio station? Like as things are just floating around and then I like hit the ground and there was not a thing wrong with me. Like I had a little bit of burn.
Whoa.
I had a little bit of like
Wow.
seatbelt burn on my shoulder and on my leg. But other than that, not a thing. And then, of course, like had really, really bad cancer and could also maybe have died on a different timeline. And I'm just here yapping my mouth about it. Like,
That is crazy. It's time to get into this podcast here. I usually do an You're listening to Were You Still Talking? Hey, welcome back. This is Joel Albrecht, and you are listening to Were You Still Talking? I am back today in my studio with Edward Miskie. He is a 13-year rare cancer survivor, author of Cancer, Musical Theater, and Other Chronic Illnesses. Interesting title. I got to get into that. Founder of First of Its Kind Film Festival, the Remission Film Festival, premiering in April 2026. This film festival spotlights creatives who have been impacted by cancer and will function as a fundraiser for Blood Cancer United. We've actually been talking here for a minute, so I might stick that at the beginning of our conversation. Anyway, we were talking about Oregon Shakespeare Festival, which it's great that I'm not surprised because you're in theater in New York, yes? So
I used to
I
be,
was
yeah.
used to be.
I
So
do not.
you're
I
are
do
you
not
not?
identify as a New York theater professional anymore. I did it for a really long time, but I'm no longer really in that pool.
Oh, okay. Dude, how did you stop?
Well, where would you like me to start?
Yeah, okay, let me put it a different way. Was it because of the cancer that weren't able to do
No,
it
that is
anymore,
actually
or is that?
no. I think cancer is probably why I should have stopped, but I
Mm.
kept going. And that is a certainly a longer conversation to have later on in this conversation. But I the short of it is that after COVID, I wasn't sure I wanted to do it anymore.
Oh,
And
okay.
then I went and saw Chicago on Broadway with Pamela Anderson, which was amazing. And it was my first time seeing it, and she was fantastic. And I was like really, really into that. And I just was like, I want to do this show. I want to do this show.
Hmm.
It just something just happened in my brain that I was like, I'm doing this. And like a month later, the tour notice went up that they were looking to cast the anniversary tour. And I went out for it and I got it. And I went through rehearsal and we had like a little pre-tour show thing and I got fired.
Oh
And
no.
they didn't give me any reason. They didn't give me any whatever. I got paid, so that's fine. That worked out well for me. And that kind of was like a moment where I was like, you know what? I have better things to do. Also, while this was going on, my book was being published. So that was happening at the same time. And I had hired a publicist and like I was ready to like go on tour and do the book thing and like make something in each city with the book and like just kind of do that.
Hmm.
And when the tour went away, I was like, oh, well, I still have the book thing. Cool. I don't really care about the tour anymore. I'm going to focus on that. And it really is kind of one of the best things that's ever happened to me, aside of cancer, which is we'll get back to. Because it completely changed the entire direction of my life. And I'm so glad that I got fired.
So that's great.
I would be living a very different life had I not. But that is kind of what got me out of it officially.
Hmm. That's funny because I got fired and haven't been back to work either, but not from theater, just from a job I didn't really like
Right.
anyway. So,
Well, I wish I had the option of not going back to work at all, but here we are.
well, I'm a little older,
Fair. Totally
and
fair.
things happened. I expected to go back to work, but then things just kept happening. COVID, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Yeah. So never did go back. And when so you did, I'm always interested in these tours. You did the tour. Did you go all over like the world, all over the US, all over the
No,
East Coast?
I never actually did the tour part of it.
Oh, you never actually
We
did
had
that.
like we had like a pre-tour performance thing for like a small thing to get the show up and running because we had too short of a rehearsal period. So they were kind of like guinea pigging the show.
Oh, I was meaning your book tour
Oh no,
for the
that didn't
book.
happen. No, 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 no.
Oh, that didn't happen.
Sorry, I was fully reliant on the show for transportation. And then
Oh, that okay.
yeah, but
Okay.
again, it worked out perfectly. I had a billboard in Times Square for my book the following summer. So it was just kind of like, great, I didn't need you. Bye.
Right. Right.
Best thing. But I'm so grateful it happened. But I mean, I talk a lot about, cancer being the best thing that ever happened to me too. And I stand by that because even though it was awful,
Hmm.
obviously, no one's having fun with cancer. I came out of it and it's been a really, really long journey to get to this point. But like coming out of it, like I said, I should have stopped doing what I was doing, but I didn't really know how to continue doing life. And it has become a very, very important platform to me to talk about that when, like, basically life after cancer, right? So, like, when you're
Hmm.
told that you're cancer free, all of this structure and support that you have from the hospital system that you've been kind of pushed into goes away. And then you're kind of like, what do I do? And it's very disarming and it's very disorienting. And you just spend a lot of time trying to asking yourself questions like why am I doing this? Why does this feel this way? Who am I? Like, what is going on? And so for me, I just defaulted, and I think a lot of people just defaulted back to what I knew. And what I knew was like auditioning and doing shows and and like going around town and doing more auditions and that part. And I do recognize in hindsight that like the farther along I got away from cancer, like my as the proximity to cancer growing, the more I realized like this probably isn't for me anymore. And so I started creating my own things, and like the book was certainly one of them. And I also had my own show that I ended up touring around the country as well. And then COVID happened, and like that really separated me from a lot of things. And I started making other projects, little projects along the way, and I wasn't sure what they all meant or how they tied into each other. But really, right now, 13 years out, the accumulation of all of that have kind of led to this film festival and using it as a fundraiser and how that makes the most sense for everything that I care about and want to do. And so really again, like without being fired from that show and without having had cancer, like I don't know what I'd be doing right now. Like the same dog and pony show that everyone else gets stuck in the loop of doing when, they don't have a fire lit under their ass to redirect.
Right. Which is a lot of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
And guilty, same.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me too. So tell me a little bit more about the festival. Like, when did you come up with the idea? And um, it's always sounded like a very difficult thing to do, a film festival. Especially, yeah.
I've heard that from people. I I'm not sure. Maybe someone who says the next person who says that to me, I'm going to ask them why they feel that way. For me, when I get something in my head that I want to do it, I just do it. And I don't really view it as being difficult or not difficult. It's just like, this is what we have to do. And so we're going to do it. That happened with the book. I wrote the book in a year. I like had a
Wow.
desk job that was kind of not terribly difficult or didn't have a whole lot of, expectation based around it. And so I
Hmm.
just sat at that desk from like it was a nightclub, and so I sat it was a private club. It's a long story. But I was sitting at the front desk as like security, concierge, check in, whatever. And whenever people came in, I would check them in, and then that was it. And so I would sit there from about 5:30 when I started to whenever they closed, which was sometimes 2 in the morning, just writing. And I did that for about a year. And then
Wow.
it was just like, oh, I have a book now. Great.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
What a great opportunity. What a great way
totally.
to
And I
write.
think
Yeah.
one of the things cancer did was kind of like not it took me out of the headspace of like agonizing over shit that doesn't matter. And so like I have friends and I've watched people do this where they're like, I think I'm gonna write a book. And then they spend 2 years outlining it and trying to figure out what each chapter is going to look like and what each chapter is going to be and what the flow is and what the order is. And I so don't fuss with that at all. I just was like, I'm going to brain dump and I'm going to organize it later. And then once it's organized, I'm going to go through and like do that. And it just like, I don't approach things from a very like conservative traditional way, and that I'm not agonizing over the stupid little details that are not stupid. Let me get that correct. They're not stupid details, but the details that would otherwise hold someone up for a long time. And so when I kind of got this like bee in my bonnet about doing a film festival, which I honestly don't even remember where this came from. I think it was I was nominated as a visionary of the year with Blood Cancer United, former Leukemia Lymphoma Society. And they were like, oh, there's like all kinds of different ways that you can fundraise and like you can do events and and I have an events background. So it wasn't a stretch for me to be like, oh, I could throw an event.
Oh, right, right.
But then it just kind of was like, I'll throw a film festival. I have like a secondary hand to like TV film industry. Why not? Sure. So I got, I came up with the name. My friend Sarah came up with the slogan, "Our mission is remission." And it just kind of snowballed from there. It literally started as like an Instagram. And I was like, okay, I'll just make the Instagram, and then we'll go from there. And like, well, an Instagram needs a photo. Okay, so I'll make a little image on Canva. And then what do you need in a film festival? You need submissions. Okay, where do I go to get submissions? Okay, Film Freeway. Great. Start a profile there. And it just was kind of like one thing after another that just led to where we're at now.
Wow. That's awesome, though. It sounds like
Yeah.
it kind of fell into place. But you also had the experience. It's something
In a
you've
way,
already you
yeah.
had
I mean,
organized things
I've never put
before.
a film festival together before, but
Hmm.
I've been to them, and so I kind of have, I have a general consumer approach. Like I'm the consumer coming to a film festival. I know how they're
Right,
supposed to go and what they're
right.
like. And it's knowing what those elements are and going and finding them.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I forgot,
It's been fun.
I forgot one of my first questions was going to be, so how do you go viral on TikTok?
I don't fucking know.
I knew I somehow knew that would be the answer. I have one video that went viral, which is just a squirrel with Billy Bob Thornton's voice over. And it's
Oh,
like
that's funny.
it just took off. Nothing else has done
No,
anything,
nothing else
and
makes
it's
sense.
like, oh my gosh,
It's the dumbest thing. And like there's no rhyme or reason. My first one that went off, it was 2020. I think I had been on the app for like maybe a month, and I was
hmm
making really stupid fucking videos. And it was snowing, and I think I saw someone comment something somewhere about how their apartment was too hot because of like the radiators. And I did this, I think it's literally 15 seconds. It was a little video with a fast edit that was basically just like, the original steam heat radiator design for New York City was that inception of that design was made so that you turned it on all the way and opened your window. So you had like this steam heat blasting in and the cold air mixing with it to create a normal temperature. And they were more widespreadly implemented during the Spanish flu in the early 1900s. So, like, it was topical because we were in a pandemic. It was also winter time. And it was just like 15 seconds of just me being like, hey, did you know that, like, this is why this is the way that it is? And it found its way on Twitter and it went everywhere. And it was like the craziest experience I've ever had.
that's really wild.
It
It was an
weird.
explainer and also like topical and yeah, and you're reacting to and a reactor, whatever those are called.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
I've had a
Yeah.
couple others go. I've never like crossed the million mark, but like I think I was early to get to the Moynihan Train Hall in New York when it first opened, when they turned the old post office into, well, they reopened essentially what, Penn Station was.
Hmm.
And I did like a little video of that, and I did a live stream of the place and whatever, and that also continues to get traction. And TikTok is a weird app and it's just gotten weirder, but I love it. I learn more on that app than anything.
That's what really surprised me when I first got. I can't remember why. Oh, one of my guests was on there and had done really well. So I thought I would. I thought stupidly that that would help me promote things. It hasn't.
Well, I mean, the
But
thing
it's
is,
very interesting how much
the
good information is on there.
oh yeah, well, and bad information too, but you just
Well,
have to kind
yeah,
of be a little
yeah,
discerning. But you know, I think the funny thing about TikTok and social media in general is that most people approach it wanting to promote something and not realizing that the promoting of the thing is not what you should be leading with, because if you're just throwing billboards at people all day long, no one's paying attention anymore. And so that's why like a lot of brands build out ecosystems now, so
right,
that like you think that
right,
you're watching something about like, you know, a squirrel with Billy Bob Thornton's voice over it, but really that's like one of a series of 10 videos that actually leads to them seeing that you do a podcast. You know, like it's more that now, I think, than anything. And it certainly started to go downhill when they added the TikTok shop, because I hate that shit.
yeah. That drives me nuts.
Every
Yeah,
time I see a
that
TikTok shop thing on a video, I just go right past it.
I do too. I pretty
Hate
yeah.
it.
If it says sponsored or it has a TikTok shop, unless it's
Yeah.
got Tom Hanks in it or something, then I might stop. But
But even then, sorry, Tom.
that was there was a clip from a movie recently, and I'm like, what is this? Oh, it's an ad.
Oh, right. They get you. But that's
Oh,
what I
yeah,
mean. Building
yeah,
ecosystems. That's what
yeah,
they do.
yeah. That's exactly what they do. And
Yeah.
it was kind of long for a TikTok, and by the middle of it, I was thinking, I wonder who did this. Like, who went in and did this edit for TikTok? Because it's perfectly like made for this app. You know, someone
Hmm.
went in and edited that scene so that it works on TikTok. And I don't know, I just thought that was fascinating. I was like, wow, this is this is
It's
the new
yeah,
world.
it's
Yeah.
wild. It really is. And I shudder to think what is coming next, because I also just saw something recently that was like 20 to 50% of all engagement on the internet is bots.
Oh yeah. Just
And I was like,
that
yeah,
is
so that dead internet
yeah.
theory is looking a lot less like a theory.
It's true because the I got a fair amount of followers all at once from the squirrel video. And now all the people well, they're not people. All the followers I get are obvious bots.
Yeah.
They're like AI, young AI women, and
Oh,
it's
I
so
totally.
obvious. It's like,
I block all of them.
okay, you figured out that I'm an older male, and you think this is. I mean, what's going to happen if I follow you back? What is the point? Yeah, I'm just. It's confusing, but there
It's
must be something bad that
yeah.
happens if you
Like I'm always
follow
like
up there.
okay, like big busted, you know, AI bot woman
Yeah, yeah,
person, you are on the wrong side of the coin here. Like let's at least make them men. Like that's at
right.
least a little bit more
Yeah,
conceivable
at
for
least
me. So
at
like,
least come on. See, the AI sucks. It's just no good.
it can't even tell that I'm
But
gay, which is so funny because neither could my grandmother.
oh, really? Your grandma couldn't tell.
I mean, she refuses to acknowledge it, but it's
That's
fine. I
so
love her.
funny.
We're very close. She's the best.
It's like when my now wife's mom didn't know how to say what to think of us because, you know, we weren't married forever. So she would always call me her special friend. I don't know what, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
oh, it's your special friend. Yeah, okay,
Your
sure.
special friend.
Yeah,
It's like that I
just
try to
hilarious.
comment this as often as I possibly can on I follow a lot of history accounts on both TikTok and Instagram. But when it's like two men that are like all over each other and they're like, these two friends were blah blah, I was like, history will call them roommates. History will say they were good friends.
Exactly.
It's like, no, they clearly were not either of those
Right,
things.
right. And it's just starting to come out about all types of different things that were obvious, you know, 100 years, 200 years ago, maybe. And they call it revisionist history. It's like, well, no, actually, we're digging into to
Right. We're
real
just
history.
right. We're
This is what
getting past
probably
the
happened.
revisionist.
Yeah, we're
Yeah, like
getting
this
past the
is
revisionism.
like you revisioned
It's
it
like, yeah, yes.
and we're unrevisioning it.
And we're undoing. and are revisiting it. That's the craziest thing. When we're living through, when history's being rewritten as we live it,
Yeah, it's
it's
insane.
just bizarre. Yeah,
It's that quote
completely insane.
from 1984 where it's like, and they asked you to not believe your eyes or your ears, and that was their final something or other, and that literally happened today, which we also don't need to get into, but
But yes,
you know.
that it is literally happening every day, every single, and it's being echoed by everyone,
Yeah.
which is hard.
Right.
It's like,
Past the point of no return. The final question. Anyway.
oh, so that brings me to another question I had then. What is do you have a favorite musical? This is just
Oh,
right out
God.
of
You know,
thin
I
air.
love it. I love and I hate this question because I do, but it changes and I have so many. So like The
Oh
Secret
yeah.
Garden is one of my absolute favorites, and I think it's because the score is just so lush and beautiful from the jump. And it's not done very often, so you don't get it too often, and you're not oversaturated with it. And so I think it's exceptional writing. I love The Secret Garden. I also really love The Scarlet Pimpernel, which like is the only musical in Broadway history that opened on Broadway three times within like a 5 year period.
Oh
It like
wow.
it like
Wow.
opened and then it closed, and then they reopened it and then they closed it and then went and rewrote it again and then came back and opened it again. But I think like classic can go to it every single time and watch it all the time is probably 42nd Street.
Oh, interesting.
It's
Interesting.
just it's just it's the first musical I saw on Broadway, so of course there's like a nostalgic thing there. I've also done it, which was a joy. But it's just such a perfect show. It's
Hmm.
like the perfect amount of like camp and heart and romance and dance and song, and it has this show has everything.
Right. Right.
What
That's
about you? What's your favorite?
my favorite. Now that I've seen it three times and twice in person, is Hamilton at the moment.
It's good.
It's blown me away every time.
Yeah.
And it's interesting
There's a
because
reason why it's so
yeah,
successful.
there is. And the first time I saw it was during COVID on the Disney Channel, like everyone else. You know,
Right.
they put it out for free, and I was like, oh, this is why all the talk. I
Right.
see.
Oh, this is why
But
tickets are
this,
$900. Got it. Okay.
yeah, gosh, this is kind of good, but you don't get it. I mean, it doesn't. It's not the same, and for me,
Oh,
until
no,
you're
no,
sitting there
no.
feeling the drums going through you in a theater and
Yeah.
seeing the
I didn't see it
talented
in
punks.
person. I didn't see it in person until I think maybe 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, that's about
Like
the first time I saw it. Yeah,
yeah, I saw it here in the city.
yeah.
My aunt used to work on Broadway and she got me two tickets out of nowhere that were just like they were giving them out for whatever
Wow.
reason. So I got two free tickets to see Hamilton. I took my friend Sarah and we were like center balcony, I think. Yeah, center mezzanine balcony. I don't know. We're up somewhere. And it was cool. It was great. I wish I would have seen the original cast, but like the staging of Satisfied and that song in general is just incredible. So good. I
Yeah.
love that show. It really is pretty
And it's kind of
spectacular.
fun to see because I saw three casts. Well, I only saw the original cast on film, which isn't the same, obviously.
Right.
But it's always a different person that stands out. You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
When I
Hamilton's
saw it
not
was
the
Hercules
star.
Mulligan.
Yeah, right.
I
It's
was like,
just
why is Hercules Mulligan the standout? He was so
he
good.
was so good. And then the second time I saw it, actually, that was that same part that really stood out. And then the third time I saw it, the Hamilton stood out. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's not the character. It's who's playing it. It's like it's
Right.
not how it's written. It's
Exactly.
like who's playing
And
it. Yeah.
that is the magic of theater. And the one thing that and I could go on about this all day and every day, but like there's so much gatekeeping with access to theater, especially commercial
Right.
theater being Broadway, that you don't always get a live stream. You don't always get a pro shot of the show. And there's this argument, it's so dumb that like having access to a pro shot or a live stream is somehow going to hurt ticket sales, but like no, the fuck it doesn't. The numbers are in, guys. Sorry, we figured it out. Like it actually helps. Like
Right. Of
If that
course
were
it does.
true, if that were
It's an
true,
ad.
Hamilton
Come
wouldn't have been
on.
sold to Disney for
Yeah.
$75 million, and
Right.
it
Right.
wouldn't still be touring. Like
Yeah.
one plus one does not equal two for them in this situation. So,
Yeah.
it's yeah. But it really is like that's you see a live shot and you love it, and then you come to the theater in person and you have a totally different experience.
Yeah.
And that it truly, and I'm a broken record, but that truly is like the magic of theater.
Well, and you can't see it in a camera. Like you can't
Well,
watch
and you don't see it the
the
same way
person off on the
twice.
left side that's, far left and it's like blowing everyone away for some reason because you just know they're the best dancer on stage. And things like that you
Yeah.
can't see that on a
And
camera.
it's different every time because it's
Yeah.
live. Like you're never going to see
Right.
the same show twice because it doesn't exist. Like I've seen Oh Mary on Broadway now 3 times
Hmm.
because the Marys keep changing, and I'm like, well, god damn it! Like now I have to go see this person do it, and it's different every single time. And I think that's also a testament to very, very good writing. But they're just nailing casting on that. I just saw Jane Krakowski do it. I saw Betty Gilpin do it. And I've seen Cole do it, and it's brilliant every single time.
That is really the joy. And I've seen this several places now. I've seen people on podcasts saying this. I've seen a few people say this, I think on their social media, how theater's really boring. And I'm like, you are boring.
Yes.
Tell you who's boring.
What
You
are you
are.
talking about?
You
That you
don't
think
get
theater
it,
is
man.
boring?
How can
Yeah.
you say that? I mean, yes, movies have a lot of AI special effects, but you can't. It's just so different when the people are there. Like,
Yeah, well,
it's
and I
right
mean,
there in front of you.
I'm happy to acknowledge the fact that like maybe theater isn't for you if that's the way you
Right.
feel. But like boring,
Not me. I think
I
you're.
I have been to boring shows. But
Well,
like
sure.
theater as a whole is not boring. Sorry about it.
Yeah. Not boring. And I mean, Shakespeare is still relevant. That's the amazing thing.
Yeah.
They still make production after production of Shakespearean whatever. I mean, different way. They're using them different
Yeah.
ways, and it's
Well, and
still amazing.
translating it into film, and like most of
Yeah.
the films that we've watched and are all based on Shakespearean plays in some form or another. It's usually like Romeo and Juliet, or it's Taming of the Shrew, or it's Much Ado About Nothing, or
Right.
Twelfth Night. Like there's all the formulaic archetypes are there, and they're used and recycled constantly.
Well, yeah, that's what these Marvel films are.
Yeah.
And they even use Shakespearean actors to play the villains because that's what you need, right? You've got to have that.
Hello.
Yeah. That's where it comes from. I also, I like a lot of the old ones, Oklahoman, Pirates of Penzance. And when I was younger, I heard Jesus Christ Superstar. I actually heard the London Cast album before it was a play. And I've always liked that.
It's a good one. And
Yeah.
the one that they just broadcast, like what, 2-3 years ago with John Legend and Sarah
Oh, that
Bareilles,
was amazing.
that was crazy work.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah, that was really good. And I've seen it live a few times and always been a little bit disappointed. And I hated the movie. I thought it
Oh
was.
my God, I haven't seen the movie since high school. I don't
It's
even
really
know.
old and it just didn't. I've always thought it would be cool if Baz redid that, but he probably
Oh, that would be very cool.
wouldn't it?
Oh my God,
I've
yeah.
always looked at just the
Let's
music. I love
let's
the
start
music
an
so
online
much.
petition.
There you go.
Dear Baz Luhrmann, please redo this film.
Because you're not doing anything.
Right, you're not busy.
You're not busy. You should.
What do you mean? Just do this massive project. Yeah, no, it's yeah. I also think like to the point of like theater being inaccessible for the most part, at least in a commercial way, a la live stream or pro shot. There really does need to be a more in-depth and broad conversation amongst the unions to just merge finally, like the actors union and SAG-AFTRA, like just please merge, because we are entering into a space where we're going to need so much protection
Right.
in that workplace from AI and from theft of image from indirect use of AI that like it's just going to make the most sense for them to merge. And I don't know if there are talks to do that. I hope there are because good Lord, every time I see someone making those AI images online, I'm like, and you're going to be in a car commercial in Dubai any minute. They're
It's
just going
true,
to
and
tape your face
a
off
few people
and
have sold their image
no, but I'm
to
talking
AI
about not
companies.
selling it. I mean, like
Right.
you opt
Yeah.
in to do some cute little Christmas photo on Facebook, and
Oh,
then all of a
right.
sudden you're the face of Audi in Dubai and you've made $0 0 cents.
Yeah. Well, this could be true of any of us now. I think
A
about
hundred
this
percent,
making
totally.
the podcast. I'm like, well, they could easily turn this into anything,
Yeah.
and I would sure get a laugh if I saw that.
Well, depending on what it's for,
Well, yeah, I guess so.
might not be
Oh,
that
that's
funny.
true. It might not be. It might be something bad, rat poison or
Just
something, or worse.
gutted. Who
Just,
knows?
oh man. But I wonder. That was why you said that. I was thinking, well, maybe that will. It seems to me the theater is pretty big right now because so many movie actors want to go do Broadway, which is not great to me. That's not great for theater, but it's in the other hand, it sells tickets, and I wonder if AI is going to actually push more theaters to open around the country,
I hope so.
so
I mean,
people have work, so people can do that.
I just had this conversation recently with a good friend of mine, about how AI is going to kind of demand of the human experience to create more human experiences. We're already at a point where like when you're on social media, you're like, was that AI? I
Right?
can't, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be a mass exodus off of a lot of these platforms for that reason. And I think you're right that even if it isn't a swath of new theaters opening to create more theater, maybe non-specific to theater, there will be a push to have more in-person live human experiences. And back to the film festival, I will not accept AI submissions. I don't want them. You know, like
Hmm.
the whole point of the film festival was to talk about experiences that you've been through, something you've been through, something you've learned from having cancer or being a caretaker for someone who has had cancer or watching a loved one suffer through cancer or win and beat cancer. Like those are not things that AI can replicate. And even if it could, it's not real and it's not grounded in a real person. And I believe wholeheartedly that that is what makes art good. And you can certainly mimic that digitally. Of course, you can absolutely recreate something and make it look exactly like something else with AI or generative imaging or whatever. But you can't put the human experience into it. You can't replicate that. And so there will always be something missing. And
That's interesting the way you're saying this. It makes me think about the CGI takeover of big movies. When they made
yeah,
Jurassic Park, there was very little CGI. Like they hardly had any. And if you compare the original Jurassic Park with the new ones look like crap. Because they don't even try to hide that this is a computer generated image for some reason. I don't
yeah,
understand that. And they
it's,
used to. They used to be like, well, if I can tell that's a computer, you fix it.
I don't want it.
I
Right.
don't
Get
want
rid
it.
of it.
And they
Well,
didn't
and
used to do.
I
Yeah.
also think like I've talked a lot about this with Wicked, the movie,
Hmm.
both of them, you know, whether you like it or not. I mean, you're wrong if you don't, but they built practical sets. They planted 7 million tulips. They were
Oh, that's
on a
amazing.
location
Yeah.
and built a fucking working train
I didn't
that they could
realize that.
ride.
Yeah,
Like
that's
yeah,
awesome.
they built an Emerald City. Like this is all practical, theatrical, physical sets. And a lot of the magic was very
Interesting.
practical. Like
Uh
Cynthia
huh.
was on a harness instead of a green screen. And like, yes, they of course used green screen for probably safety purposes so that she's not actually flying 150 feet in the air. But like, even though she probably was, to be honest, we've seen a lot of the behind the scenes stuff.
Right. Right.
But but you know, like they really committed to the bit of using old Hollywood original like backdrops and sets and real functioning pieces. Like the train is crazy. They built this whole train that worked. And I think that's one of the reasons, at least for me, why the movie feels so good
It
because it's real. You
right.
have made a thing that is not 100% animated,
It's
which they
interesting you
very
say
easily
that.
could have done.
I was just watching a piece where someone was comparing the look of new films to the look of film. And it's kind of like records and CDs. And I used to think that was BS. I'm like, you know, 10 years ago when people started going back to film, it's like, well, for one, it's showing off that you have a lot of money, so you can do it on film because most,
Right.
you know, most people in Hollywood can't. And then does it like you can make that look digitally? Come on, anything you shoot on a digital camera. And then I was looking at the examples and I was like, okay, you can, but you don't have to do that if it's shot on film. And that was my and one of their examples was Wicked, and I was like, yeah, that would look amazing if they didn't shoot it digitally, because to me it did look a little fake, and to find out that they did all that practical stuff is amazing. I loved the movie. Don't get me wrong, mainly
Well,
because
you would be wrong
I would be wrong.
if you didn't like it.
I
So.
didn't watch it for a long time because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know the plot basically, which is
Yeah.
today's world, right? The plot is this is the world today.
So
But
many people fall victim to that.
but I
They're
was
like, "Oh, I've heard
yeah,
this is good. Let's go." And then they end up
exactly.
angry.
Oh, they end up. See, I ended up just going, "Oh, this is fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
This is
It's
really
really solid.
amazing," because they don't. There's nothing that really gives it away. It's not the secret that the Sixth Sense was, but do you remember when the Sixth Sense came out
Oh yeah, I saw
and
it in
no one
theaters.
said anything?
Yeah,
Yes. I
everyone
was
kept their
I
mouth
was
shut.
so blown away that no one said anything. Yeah. Anyway,
That's when we used to be a proper society.
exactly. That's why it surprised me that Wicked wasn't more. Maybe I just didn't read a lot of stuff about it because I wasn't sure I would see it,
It's possible. I
and
mean,
maybe that
I
was
think
it.
there was certainly like some online discourse that was like complaining about the second movie being a second movie and why didn't you just make it one movie? Because honestly, I would have sat in a theater for 6 hours to watch that, and I was really kind of hoping
Oh,
that
I see.
there would have been more places that did like a double feature where you could like watch the one movie, break, intermission, go to the bathroom, get some popcorn, go back, and watch the second film. I'm sure places did that. I did not see any. I certainly didn't seek them out. I was in the middle of Pennsylvania with my parents, so there was definitely not going to be a movie theater that did that.
Right.
The
Right.
movie theater near them recently closed, which is very sad. But you really can tell the difference, and it really does make a difference for me at least, because it's not necessarily something you can look at and your brain is computing,
Hmm.
but like I think on a cellular level, you know that like this was made by humans. This feels weird and uncanny valley like because it was not. And again, I think that ties into the internet a lot because there is
Yeah.
so much that you're like not sure.
That you're. Yeah. Well,
And I do
they did that with the Mandalorian. I don't know if you ever saw that show.
no, I haven't.
They wanted it to look like now I'm forgetting the name of the director. He directed Iron Man, the first one, and he used to have a great show about cooking. Anyway, I totally am spacing his name.
Anthony Bourdain?
But no, 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 you probably didn't ever see a show about cooking.
Probably not.
One of the biggest
I'm
directors
going to
in
start a
Hollywood.
rumor that Anthony Bourdain
He
directed The Mandalorian.
directed. He wanted to look like Star Wars, original Star Wars, episode
Right.
4, 5, and 6. He wanted to
Yeah.
look like that. So he got almost everything on the ground was there in front of them, and everything that would have been blue screen was done with digital screens. So, because
Interesting.
now you've got this amazing digital science. It's really thousands of little screens.
Yeah.
And so the actors could see everything. So they weren't interacting with the blue screen.
Right, which is
Yeah.
so like obviously I've never been in that situation to that level at least or at all really. But what a wild thing to have to do to be like, okay,
Yeah.
you're in this thing and this building is falling and things are blowing up and you're going to hit this mark, this mark, this mark, and this mark and not feel insane and still be focused enough to like do your acting job. And like, I don't know if I have that in me.
Some I've always thought the same thing. I've done a couple of green screen things, and usually you're not. I didn't really have to interact with the stuff, so it was just going to be there later. But I can't remember who I saw was talking about this and how they were just interacting with a tennis ball and blah 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 blah. But then they said, "But you know, I'm an actor, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
It's pretend.
I
It's a
mean, I
pretend
get it.
world. That's my thing."
Totally.
Yeah, I don't get how the big budget special effects driven movies can be so good at storyboarding to get those scenes that I always think go on for 30 minutes too long, but they're so complicated.
Okay, Joel, tell us how you really feel.
It's like this, it's like this Marvel movie is 3 hours long. No, it's in 2.5 hours, and there's
It's
a
90
bunch of
minutes and the rest of it is
ridiculous stuff.
explosions.
Exactly. Explosions.
No, I get you. I get you.
Yeah, yeah. I am always amazed though how good the acting is in those movies. That's why I've seen a lot of them because
Yeah.
the cast is like, wow,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
really
and
good.
also I think actors have gotten better over time with development of technique and whatnot. And like certainly we have like the foundational actors that we all are in awe of course. But like I really do think that there's something to be said about the next generation of actors that are coming up because some of the work that they're putting out is crazy good. I don't know
Yeah,
if you've watched Heated Rivalry, say and think what you want about the show, whatever. But what those two guys are doing as far as like acting is concerned is fantastic.
I
Um,
just saw. Oh God, what's the name of it? It has Sean Penn and DiCaprio are the two stars, and it's a completely nutty film. It's
I
to,
can't place it. I know what you're talking
you
about.
know
But
what?
yeah.
But it's
I,
just I was watching it going, oh my God, now I remember why Sean Penn is so
yeah.
revered by other actors. Because I mean, I could almost see the other actors going, "Oh wow, I'm in the room with Sean Penn." I mean, he just like they're acting. I'm acting, and I'm going to say my lines. Oh, but who's this guy? He's
Yeah.
freaking nuts.
Well, and I do want to clarify what I'm saying a little bit too, because like the example that I most recently saw that kind of woke me up to being like, oh, I know what you're talking about, was Hunter, I can't think of his last name. I feel like I should look this up. The other guy that is not Connor Story that is in Heated Rivalry.
Hmm.
I think younger actors now are so much more attuned to being on camera because they have grown up with social media and being
Right.
on camera at all times. And so the little like minute tiny little face ticks that happen when someone is talking to you that you're maybe not aware of as they're happening in real life, they are very good at that.
Right.
This dude is
Right.
so good at it. And I just saw The Housemaid with Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried. I know Sydney Sweeney right now is problematic. I get it. I understand. Fine. Cool. She's so good in that movie.
That
Kind of
looks
for the same
really good.
kind of for the
Yeah.
same reason. It's like the little things. And Amanda Seyfried is always great, and that's to be expected. She's fantastic. And the movie is great. The movie is one of the best ones I've seen in a really long time. It is so good. Please go watch it because every time you think you understand what's going to happen, you don't.
Oh, I
And
love that.
the wrap up at the end is fantastic. I loved it. But it really is like the small little, like the tiny little eyebrow twitch, the little
Hmm.
eyelid twitch, the little like mouth movement, like the little lip quiver or whatever, whatever. But it's like the tiniest, tiniest, tiniest little things from these kids like in their 20s that like just grew up being on camera and they're just so acclimated to it that it's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm completely off base, but like I read that the other day about the guys in Heated Rivalry, and I was like, oh yeah, actually you're right. Like Jacob Elordi and that whole crew of people, like yes, you are. That is what you're doing.
Well, and I wonder too if it's from so many years now of like the naturalistic style of acting has been around a long time. You
Yeah,
know, we don't.
Well, I was also
Unless
talking about
people are
this
in a
at,
hurry. There's not just
right.
show up and say your lines so much anymore, but when you have the time in a movie that's been around so long that for for really young people, they grew up, they just, they kind of understand that
Yeah.
that's acting. It's not like that was acting, you don't do,
Right.
that's
Although
not it anymore.
I do love that though.
Yes, of course.
I feel like we peaked at
Yeah.
that in the 80s. It was so good
Yeah.
back then. But I was actually talking about this at lunch today, and the kind of really fucking annoying like genre of acting that we're in on the other side of that is that no one talks anymore. They're all just like mumbling down here, and
Oh
this is how they
man,
say
that's
their
not their
lines. And
fault.
it's
You know
just
what
like,
that is? This is what really pisses me off about that. When somebody did that up until the 90s, I think, sound man would freaking take care of it. But suddenly, sound has taken a backseat to everything. I don't know if I noticed this because I'm a sound person. I mix sound, I do different things with sound. But,
mhm,
when someone is mumbling, they used to mumble and the mic would be here, but it wouldn't be on camera. I mean,
mhm.
they would, if they weren't getting it, they'd stop. Nope, not getting sound. This doesn't seem to happen anymore.
Yeah.
And that's my other pet peeve is they mix music over it like too
And then you can't
loudly,
hear it.
and then you can't hear anything.
And then it's like, like I missed a plot point. Speak up, please.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like,
no. And
what
the
the
woman that I was speaking
fuck?
to, her husband actually works in sound and like swings in at like the Colbert Show and like a couple other things here in the city. And
Yeah, yeah.
same, they
So
can't stand it. And I don't really know. Maybe that's something to ask her tomorrow. Is like, why don't sound people speak up and say, "Can you fucking talk, please?" Like,
yeah. Well,
I
I don't
can't
even know if it's
stand
them or
it.
if it's the sound, if it's the editors and mixers that are, putting it together that for some reason don't have the same values as they used to. I mean, there used to be a movie wouldn't get in a theater if you couldn't hear somebody talk. It would
Right.
not get put out.
Well, and it's always my
But
philosophy that, like, especially as someone who's kind of getting farther into producing film and on camera stuff, which we can talk more about in a second. I don't want that. I want you to speak to someone like you're speaking to someone in a room, and like I don't want you to do that. I want you to talk. I will stop if you're mumbling or like whispering to a microphone because then also
yeah,
unless you have cans on, how are you going to hear
how
them?
are you going to hear?
How do
And
you know where we're at?
I used to I used to always like film because of that. I've made a lot of small films, nothing, a lot of small features, a lot of short films around my area, and industrials and ads and things. And I used to think, well, this is the great thing about cameras. You don't have to speak up. As you don't have to speak like a stage actor. But if you do, it really is a lot easier.
It really helps.
It
Well, and
really
can we
helps.
just find like a happy medium
Yeah.
somewhere?
I mean, if you speak in a normal
Maybe
tone,
don't
you're
be
good.
doing maybe
But
don't be
when you
doing
mumble,
this, but
yeah,
like, maybe something a little bit more farther away from the mic where we're actually like talking to each other like people.
right, right.
It
And those,
drives me
yeah,
nuts. But all that to say, I just I'm in post editing right now for a documentary that I shot this past fall that effectively right now is called Back to Normal, that is about cancer survivorship, and it's been really interesting to do. There were three main people that we interviewed, myself included, and then we got about 30 other people to submit videos of themselves talking about their cancer experience. And the sound was the one thing that we paid so much attention to because like you can have something on camera that kind of looks like shit, but if you can't hear it, it really doesn't matter. Or then like whatever. But if you can hear it, you can like mentally forgive what it looks like for the most part.
hmm
And the one thing that I've always said about anything that I've shot, few and far between as they are, is that like I need to hear it.
and that's really good. I think that's good directing. It's just good stuff. It's
That's
like,
not even me directing. That's
yeah,
producer side of me. Like I'm not putting
right.
money into this unless I can fucking hear it. Like the way it looks, we can kind of futz with that later if we have to. But like you can only go so far with sound, especially if you then get into like restricted budgets where you
hmm
don't have the money to pay someone else to come in to voice over something and match up and do all that other shit that they do in like the larger budget films, which would be amazing if we had that kind of budget. But like, no, 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 no. This was just like a tiny little documentary short about cancer. And I'm not going to have someone come in and dub over
And
themselves.
especially for that, you really want to. But it's like if you mute the spaghetti westerns, if you mute those, wow, you'll see a lot of crap. You'll see.
That's what I mean.
It's
It
not
doesn't necessarily have to look amazing. As if you
good.
can
Yeah.
hear it, that's all that matters.
Really. And it was interesting because they did the sound. The Sergio Leone didn't know about doing sound on set. He was like, that's a waste of time. We can't use it. So all of the sound is dubbed. Every single piece of sound, which is why they're so weird sounding.
Oh, I love it
But
though.
it's it's like he knew how important sound was. Like it was such a big deal. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So much of his music. So tell me more about this documentary. How long did it take to put that together?
2 days.
Oh, 2 days?
Well, 2 days to shoot. 2 days to shoot.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that was partially because my director Sanan Davis and my DP Nick DeLula are just fucking pros. Um, we had I think two or three meetings about this, about like equipment we wanted to bring,
Hmm.
how long we needed to do. I kind of organized everything. We shot it in my apartment and we just like moved things around to make it look like different locations. I just painted, so like we had plenty to choose from. And it was just what ended up saving us in the end was like a spreadsheet and calendar invites. I sent calendar invites for everything. It was like 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. arrive and set up, 9 to 9:30 breakfast, 9:30 to 10:30 set up for interview one, 10:30 to like 1 interview time. And if we didn't use all the interview time, great. Break it down, reset for the next thing. I'll get lunch, you guys set up, I'll get the food, come back. And it was really that and just sticking to it. Because we didn't have a big budget. I was not able to put a whole lot of money into it, and we really ended up getting quite a good product in the end. That was only possible because everyone was present, organized, paying attention, and following the schedule,
Hmm.
and everything just kind of clicked and worked. It was great.
Yeah, that is awesome. And is that
But
done? Is it out? Is it ready for
no, no, no,
release?
we're still editing.
Editing.
Which is not my favorite part.
Right.
My brain kind of turns to soup and I'm like, I don't know what to do. But it will be premiering at the film festival. Because again, once I decided to do the film festival, I was like, well, I should put something in it because this is what I wanted to be doing more of. So let's do the thing. So yeah, it'll be shown in April as like probably the first thing in the documentary or the documentary in the film festival, to kind of set the tone. Because we do have the conversation about it's called back to normal because you never do in fact get back to normal after cancer.
Hmm.
And I think that's a surprise to hear for people who haven't experienced it. And so we very much have that conversation of like what we thought it was going to be like, what it actually was like, and like where we're at now.
That's great. And
I'm excited.
how did you find out when you first got cancer? Because you were very young. How
I
did
was.
that?
I
Yeah.
was 24 when it first showed up. I found out because I was growing a tumor under my arm, like literally like right here,
Hmm.
at a very rapid pace. Within 5 months, it went from being like this tiny little bump to being like a grapefruit that was sticking out from under my arm. Like I still have like stretch marks from it on my arm. It was painful. It was very fast growing and it looked like a boob.
So that, in a way, that's really lucky because there's a lot of
Yeah.
cancers that don't really show like that. They don't,
Yeah.
they're hard to
Well, and
see.
then, the other part of it too, not to not to bring the mood down, but like there was someone else that my aunt knew who had a lymphoma as well, but it was in their abdomen and it was the size of a shoebox until they found it. And
Oh,
like,
wow.
what do you mean how big of a shoe are we talking? Because like this was apparent when it was small. I was in it was so textbook. I was in the shower, I felt it, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, you get sick, your lymph nodes get swollen, cool, fine. This was not that.
Hmm.
And it was very much like what do I do? And I was, of course, doing a show and was stubborn and didn't want to see a doctor right away. So I waited. And that's why it got to be the size that it got to.
Oh, okay. I actually I'm remembering now because it's been a while. My neighbor, previous neighbor, had she had all kinds of symptoms that they couldn't figure out. They could not figure out. They could not figure out. They X-rayed her. They did MRIs. They did another like three different kinds of imaging. We can't really find anything. But the doctor was smartly. The doctor was like, I really want to, take a knife and find out, which is kind of rare these days. And yeah, she had a massive growth, and it was too late. By the time they found it, it was like, yeah, I mean, we can get rid of it, but unfortunately,
It
it's not
spread.
gonna. Yeah, yeah,
That's
pretty
so
scary.
annoying. It is scary because also I feel like, of course, nobody likes going to a doctor, right?
Right.
But we have also set it up here in this country that like it is so prohibitively unaffordable to go to a doctor for most people to even have insurance in the first place. And then if you, God forbid, have to like go to an emergency room and your insurance doesn't cover it or you don't have insurance, like most people won't do it.
Right.
Like back when I had insurance, I was told my friends, if anything happens to me, throw me in a taxi before you put me in an ambulance and just send me to the hospital because I'll get there faster and it'll be cheaper than an ambulance. But like it's really fucked up that like we're in a place where we are not able to just freely go to get little things checked. And I'm now that I have like really good insurance, I'm actually trying to be better at like being more proactive about, if something's wrong, don't be a little bitch and just go.
Right.
Go and
Right.
get it checked.
Well,
Because
I
I'm
go in
still
for a checkup every year because I can, um, and you know, doesn't really. She doesn't find anything. The scariest thing now is my blood pressure keeps going down, but the doctor says, "No, that's really good." I said, "Okay,
I guess it's
great.
better than having high blood
It's
pressure.
better than having." I stopped eating meat basically, and meat's, you know,
Funny that.
well, I didn't really think it would have that effect, but yeah, my heart rate and blood pressure have gone down just from that.
Yeah.
And
Well, who
yeah,
knows what the fuck is in it these days because all
well,
the
that
EPA
too.
changes. So,
Oh no,
LOL.
but I'm in Oregon and we only eat the cleanest, best
Oh,
organic
that's
raised.
probably,
We know the
yeah,
name of the chicken.
right. And
That
the
was
farmer and
that
the
was a
farmer who owned it
Portlandia
beforehand.
episode.
Yeah.
They, they went to the farm from the restaurant to meet the chickens.
I did that in upstate New York
Oh
one
my
time.
god.
I was doing a show in upstate New York and, well, it was Connecticut, but it was whatever. It doesn't matter. And we went to this one farm in Amenia, New
Hmm.
York, and, you could like they had the frozen chickens in the refrigerator and then like the non-frozen ones in the freezer and then the other ones in the refrigerator. And then you could literally there were like arrows that you could go around back and you could literally see the chickens like running around the field. And you're like, "Oh, I'm about to take one of your relatives. Thank you."
Yep. Thanks a
I'm about to
lot.
go shove a beer can up his house and put it on a grill. Like,
That's pretty much it.
thank you for your family member.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's not impossible to do here in the city because we are surrounded by farmland, both on Long
Mhm.
Island and upstate New York. And so I do tend to try and lean more towards farmers markets. And I do check where who owns my grocery store. And like you can
Right.
find the names of the three people who own it. And so like that's like great, cool. Thanks, LinkedIn. Um,
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny. I started to. We always tried to buy our organic meats, and when we do buy meat, we try and buy organic. Like we have meats that we had turkey for Thanksgiving, just not a whole one. Um, but I started to watch this video about how there's no such thing as organic meat. I actually stopped because I just like I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
I tried
It's
I
just such
tried
a
to do the
stretch.
whole meatless thing a couple years ago. I think it
Hmm.
was 2021 into 2022. Yeah. And by February, I started it in like late December. And by February, I felt like fucking shit. And I was eating a ton. I would like was doing the beans and the lentils and the broccoli and everything else, and I was boatloads of it. And there was a night where I thought I was having a cardiac event,
Oh
and I
no.
stood in my bedroom and I was like, this doesn't feel good. It's not what I would expect something like that to be like. So I'm going to have some water. I'm going to lay down. I'm going to go to sleep. And if I still feel this way tomorrow morning, I will go to the hospital. See, bad patient. Should have just gone.
Right, right.
And I woke up the next morning and it was better. It wasn't that like perfect. It hadn't gone away. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try something. And I ordered a bagel with egg, cheese, sausage, avocado, lettuce, tomato, whatever. And was like, I'm just going to eat this and see if I feel better. And instantly I felt better.
Yeah, you were
And
probably
I,
getting a little anemic.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I
different people
just,
are different, especially with what you went through. Yeah.
yeah. And I just don't think that like the meatless thing is for
Yeah, it's
me. I
just not,
tried.
it's
I really
not, it's
did.
definitely not for everybody. It was easy for us, and I can't really say we're meatless. We just don't eat it very often.
Yeah.
A lot. Like I probably used to eat once a day, eat some kind of, and we still eat eggs, which have a
Hmm.
lot of proteins and vitamins in them and things like that. And we do
Yeah.
get those from the farmer. We literally
This
get
is
those from
Gladys and this is Emily and
yes,
this is her.
we've met the chickens. We've met all her goats. I have pictures with her cute goats.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Goats are. She has
Goats are
pygmy goats.
fucking weird animals. I
They're
love
weird
them.
animals,
They're
but
so
they're pretty
weird.
friendly.
They're
They like a
so
lot of
fun.
attention. Yeah,
Oh yeah, goat
yeah.
yoga.
That I've never done, but it comes from Oregon, another Oregon invention.
Does it really?
It does. It comes from just up the road from me. First person,
I didn't know
I
that, but
think it was
that's amazing.
Corvallis, the first person that said, "Oh, well, my goats are friendly, and I teach yoga. Why don't I just let them in?" And
Oh
they
my
started
God.
crawling around on people, and boom, it went from there. It's now such such a big
That's
thing. Yeah,
so funny.
it is.
Oh, I
It's
love
wild.
animals. I think if I wasn't so entirely social, I would be totally fine living on a farm with a bunch of animals, but like I need to be around people. I worked from home for like 2 years
Oh
and
wow.
I could really feel myself like slipping into like some kind of crazed psychosis. Like I would be out with people and be like, I don't know how to talk to you anymore.
So
I need to be
you're a true New Yorker.
I need to
You're
be around people. Yeah.
truly, yeah, yeah. That's so funny. I lived in LA for 11 years, so I saw enough. I feel like I saw enough people, although,
I feel like maybe one day I will get to that point, but for now I
yeah.
need to like I need to be around it.
I wanted more social interaction when I was younger for sure. And it's not like I don't get it. It's not like I don't. There's people everywhere I go. But I
Right.
did really love, I know this is always a weird thing to say, but I really loved it when everything was completely locked up and
That's not weird. I loved
no
that.
noise and we'd go for walks and no cars.
Yeah.
It's like,
Listen,
wow, this
picture
is
Manhattan like that.
crazy. And
I
which
lived
is
in,
almost impossible. Or yeah, where I
oh my
used to live
God.
in
I
LA,
lived
I can't imagine.
totally. I lived in
Yeah.
the Upper West Side, like busy neighborhood, right at like 73rd and Broadway, which is a hub.
Wow.
That's right by Lincoln Center.
Hmm.
And when shit shut down, there wasn't a single car, there were no people. It was awesome. And I loved it. And it was also indicative of a point in my life where I was at then when not several months before that, I just had told one of my best friends, I was like, I'm not okay. I am not okay. I am too busy. I don't know how to stop. I was drinking every single day, just fucking tanked. Wake up, go to the gym, go to auditions, go to work, go out, get drunk, rinse, repeat every single day. And I was doing too much. And I remember saying, like, I don't know what's going to happen to me if I don't stop, and I don't know how to stop, and I'm really worried and I'm not okay. And then COVID happened. And I was like, right.
Whoa. Oh my gosh. Like, okay.
There's another moment where like I died in that timeline and here we are.
Right.
But
Right.
like that shutdown was, I think it took me like a couple days of panic of what was happening. And then I was like, no one needs me. I don't need to be anywhere. I don't need to do anything. Nothing's happening. I love this. As I was like wiping my mail down and like lysoling my groceries and everything else, just that whole thing. But
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I
We
really,
think
I
about that
really
every now and
loved.
again.
We laugh about it now.
Coming home and washing our groceries, which it's unlikely
Listen,
it did anything, but
we didn't
we
know.
felt better. Yeah, we
We
didn't
didn't
know.
know. We
We had
didn't
no
even know
idea.
what germs were 150 years
Yeah.
ago. So
It's
like,
right.
whatever.
Right.
Um, how we made it this far
It's
is
true.
beyond me. Um, but yeah, I do miss that, and I do say that pretty frequently that I wish we could just like shut the world down like that every year for like 30 days. Just
Oh,
like a
that'd be
30,
amazing,
just like
wouldn't it?
a 1 month where
Just take a
everything
break.
stops. And like you're required to like get enough groceries and whatever to like the government gives you a stipend to like go out and get as much things as you need to last you for a month with a spelled out guide of like what that would look like. And you just don't do anything. No one works. Everything's closed. Everything
That
is
that
closed
would be
for 30 days.
wonderful. Well, you could just put all the holidays together in 1 month instead of
Sure.
spreading them out, right? It just have a month holiday,
Whatever you want to do.
which apparently
Let's just sh
Europeans do
let's
that,
just
but
shut
the
this
whole
shit down
world
for a
just
month.
shut it
Right. No,
down.
literally they do
Yeah,
6 weeks. They get six
yeah.
weeks of paid vacation every year. Like I'm not even asking 6 weeks. I'm asking 30 days.
Right.
Shut it down. Turn off the on switch just for 30 days and let the world reset.
If only it had.
Yeah. Well, it did for a little bit
For a
and
little,
then it
it
didn't.
did. That's true. It did for a little bit. I still think it. I still think that insanity, like, is what we had. It was what we still have with us. It's part of that is what we still have with us. But yeah, I also think we're hitting that. I was told forever since I was in high school about how, well, there's a certain point in a population where it's not sustainable anymore. You cannot sustain this. And so in my mind, and what all the scientists said, that would mean, well, we won't have enough food or water. I think what's happening is we don't have enough sanity. Like, we can't get along with this many people. That's my theory.
I
It's
am
just
not going to respond to that because I do not have an agreeable take on that.
that's okay. That's
But
okay.
yes, I'm going to use my press training right now and shut my mouth.
But this isn't the press. This is the podcast.
Yeah, well,
That should be
everything is
sounds like
press.
a good
Um,
logo. It's true.
everything
Yeah.
everything is press if you want it to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yes, you are correct that I think all of those things are correct. Yes to all.
I'm so curious. Like, what was he going to get into? So listen, we've barely talked about your book. Would you like to talk more about that?
Sure.
Yeah,
Let's talk about all of it. It's
let's.
all connected.
It is. It is all connected. Um, like the title of the book, for instance. How did you come up with that,
I
and
I did
why?
not come up with that.
Oh, you did not.
No, that was my friend Alex, whom I am still friends with and I love very much. He runs a film production company called Bardo Arts here in the city, and does mostly like Broadway B-roll and like stuff like that. Anyway, so he and I were out, I think grocery shopping one day, and we were running errands or something. I don't remember. But I said something about that I was writing a book, and it just flew right out of him. Like there was no thought put into it whatsoever. He just said the title, and I was like, I'm going to use that.
That is
And he
great.
laughed. I was like, no, try me. I will use that. So it lives on. I believe he is credited in the insert in the book as having come up with the title.
Yeah, that's awesome. I still can't believe you wrote it so quickly. I talked to a lot of writers and I've heard a lot of different methods, but that might be one of the fastest
Less
books I've.
conventional one.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what? I was doing a podcast the other day, and one of the things that they asked me was what like fuels you to keep going, because we were talking about cancer and like the aftermath and everything else. And my answer was anger. And I think that's kind of what got me to write the book as quickly as I did also, because I was angry back then of the life that was robbed from me and where it could have gone. And that, I was young and beautiful and talented and promising, and all of that was
Hmm.
kind of ripped out from underneath me, to put me on a totally different trajectory of my life. And again, happy with where I'm at, wouldn't change a thing. But like there is still a level of anger and grief, and mourning of that in a way. And I think because of that, I just had all of these things I wanted to say inside of me that I couldn't organize my thoughts in an outline and take a year or 6 months to a year to outline a book. I just had to kind of like throw it up onto a document and just let everything out. And I like there were times where I would like make a list of like the things that I wanted to talk about just to remind myself, but it was never really truly in an outline. I'd like have a moment of writer's block and then I would just like go down a few spaces and be like, these are the things that I want to talk about next. Save, go to the next day and like figure it out. But part of it was because the job I had kind of allowed me slash forced me to sit in front of a computer for 6, 8, 9, 10 hours and
Hmm.
do it. And I would usually write for about the first 6 hours and then I would stop because I couldn't do anymore. But like writing 6 hours a day, 5 days a week for a year, you're gonna come up with something. But yeah, so that was kind of crazy. And it was coming from a place of anger, but also excitement because I was excited about writing it. And I was excited to talk about what I had been through and the things that aren't talked about because it isn't just necessarily about the journey of having gone through cancer and the diagnosis and the existential crisis you face before, during, and after, but it I wanted to make a point of touching on dating, sex, relationships, body dysmorphia, substance abuse, mental health throughout the book because those are all things that people experience with or without cancer,
Hmm.
but then adding that into it, especially at 24, 25 years old, when you're like, that should be the most exciting part of your life. Mid 20s, figuring out what you're doing, your frontal lobe is developed, and here you go out into the world. And it just gets taken away from you. And so, like, what does that look like? What does that feel like? I was broken up with during cancer. Like, that's just a normal thing that happens to everyone all the time. But
Right.
under that
Right.
context, how is that different? And those were the things that I wanted to have conversations about. And I was excited to have conversations about because I wasn't seeing them being had. Keeping in mind, this is 13 years ago and it's very different now. And there have been a lot of moves in the direction of having the aftercare conversation in regards to cancer. And thank God, because there was
Yeah, that
there's still
seems.
there still isn't a lot, but
Hmm.
there is a lot more than there was. And I have taken it upon myself, as well as other creators have, in addition to me, to have that conversation, to talk about like, yeah, you're going through chemo, but like, I just want to fuck today. Like, can we just put this shit aside? I don't feel good. Like, I want someone to touch me and make me feel pretty,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
like, I feel like shit. Just need to get drunk, which also don't recommend on chemo. Not the best. Not the
I
best.
can't imagine because I get sick if I drink much anyway. So
Well,
I
at
can't
this point,
imagine being on chemo and then drinking. But I then again I get the motivation for
well, what's
sure.
really
Yeah.
funny about it, and like, not funny, haha, but like,
Right.
I I don't necessarily think I would consider myself to have been an alcoholic back then. I do now, but like back then I was drinking pretty regularly and but I had stopped. Like cancer started and I had completely gone cold turkey not drinking because I was like obviously this is not good to do together.
Hmm.
And then I had like an outpatient infusion that was a couple hours long. And my friend Brooke was working at a bar nearby. And I was like, I'm going to come visit you. And when I was leaving, I called my oncologist and I was like, hey, I'm going to go meet a friend at a bar. Is it okay if I drink? And she was like, you can have like maybe one or two, but don't go crazy. And so I went crazy and I went absolute like drinking doubles and like it was not cute, but I wasn't even really that drunk. And I think what happens is that your liver just gets so acclimated to chemo that alcohol might as well just be like juice.
Oh, jeez. Right.
Because I was
Right.
never really that hungover and I was never really that drunk.
The liver
So
just went, oh, one more thing, whatever.
yeah, I mean like,
Yeah.
oh well, it's not chemo, so let's have it. Um, but yeah, so those were kind of all of the aspects of the experience that I wanted to touch on because I wasn't hearing about it. And you'll have to read the book to find out how I decided on doing this. But like, I opened by saying, after the prologue, I opened by saying that like I had met someone who was fresh out of cancer like new to being cancer free and expressed to me very similar things that I had felt when I was freshly out. And it was just this moment of like, I'm not crazy. I'm not losing it. And why has no one told me that this is normal? And I had reached out to some friends, people in my orbit who were younger and had had cancer, and I asked them the same questions like, is this how you felt? Is this what it was like afterwards? Talk to me about that. And every single one of them said some version of the same thing. And that was like I'm writing a book. This is what I'm writing the book about.
Hmm.
Because I knew I wanted to do something, and everyone was like, why don't you do a one-man show? I'd rather die. But like, I decided that the book was the move, and this conversation of aftercare was the subject. And I've kind of, again, back to what we were talking about before, where, I'm very happy with where I am. And in a way, cancer is the best thing that has happened to me. I'm still carrying the torch of that conversation. I talk about it all the time. I'm going to CancerCon this year to like be on a panel to talk about fertility, because that's another thing that you don't really talk about in regards to cancer survivorship, especially with men. I was given like 20 minutes before one of my chemo appointments where they're like, well, after you have this round of chemo, you're going to be infertile. And so you should probably decide if you want to like freeze specimens right now. And I was like,
Right before.
right now? They're like, yeah, your appointment's about to start. So you should decide if you want to do that or not. This is the cost. This is how viable it is for how long. Just let us know. And my mom was there. And I was like, I don't really need my mom to be sitting in a room while I'm jerking off into a cup in the bathroom. And like, I never really wanted to be a dad, but in that moment, I was like, what would my life be like if I was a parent?
Hmm.
And it just was, I'm so glad I'm not a parent, and I'm so glad I did not choose to freeze specimens and have babies later. Like, that was not for me. That was the right choice to make. But it certainly was like the indecency of not being given the courtesy of time. And
Right.
certainly, like,
Right.
women go through a whole different experience with that conversation. And certainly it is effectively easier for men to do it. But the mental and emotional gymnastics, I'm sure, are very similar.
And it is interesting that I haven't heard much of this conversation at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It's not had men like the
Yeah.
men and I don't want to be like men because men are the problem 100% of the time, but like that isn't discussed because it's quote unquote easier for them, because it is an external, just like into a cup, and you don't have to do the hormone therapy, and you don't have to extract eggs, or like, and that's much more complicated and much more traumatic. But it really is like, do you want, like, there is no consideration. And maybe it's because they just think like, oh, you're a man, you can take it, whatever.
Oh,
But
maybe
like,
that's it. Right. Right.
I don't know
Maybe.
the answer to that.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly not trying to like wave a flag for men here. Incels, calm down. But like, it really was like this weird, like, what do you mean I have 20 minutes? Like, it would take that long in the first place. So I have less than 20 minutes. And my mom is right here. So, it's a lot of those, it's a lot of that I am grateful for the opportunities to be able to go places and speak about it, and to make a documentary about it, and to found a film festival where everyone else's versions of these stories are going to be showcased, because that is important to me. And I think even now, with the growth of this conversation, there still isn't enough, especially with cancer rates in young people on an astronomical rise, specifically blood cancer, specifically colorectal cancer. Like, those are really ramping up. And I think we all know why. But like, not especially, and again, I was 24, 25. Like, if someone would have come to me and been like, when this is over and you're better, please do not try to go back to being the person that you were before, because it will not happen. It can't happen. You know too much now.
Well, that's interesting because that's true with any kind of major event in life. It's like when people go to
Of
war and
course.
come back, because that's
Yeah,
what you've
well,
done.
and
You've gone to
funny you
war.
mentioned that
Yeah.
too, is my argument for this conversation every single time is that there are entire programs to reacclimate military back into civilian life. Why in the world would you not do that for someone who's gone through a major medical experience? You have, like, that isn't necessarily a physical one, because we do have physical therapy that reacclimates you to being a functioning human to the best of your now ability. But there isn't one for someone who goes through something like this, and it still is PTSD, it still is trauma.
Oh
and
yeah.
so and
Yeah.
so why don't we treat it like that? They literally are just
Right.
like, hey, ring this bell, bye, thank you so much, bye, enjoy the life you get to have now that you aren't dying.
I mean, not to be a cynic, but I'm surprised that there's not these programs because they would, make people money. So
Well, I would like
that's a
to
little
think that these,
surprising. Like no one's
yes,
figured this out.
if they do, I would like a cut, please.
No, I just mean as far as the people that would be involved with, counselors and doctors and different
Yes.
people who
And
would,
and my
yeah,
only response to that really is that I would hope that for a program like that, it would be done by a nonprofit, and it wouldn't be done for profit.
hmm
And it would be like the civilian reacclimation for military, where it's just part of it. But of course, insurance companies are going to try and get their hooks in that, and wring everyone out for all they're worth. But it really is something that should exist because it is important, and
yeah.
it's everyone I've talked to.
Well, the reacclimation for military is really new and pretty shitty.
Be that as it may, it still
Yeah,
exists.
it does exist, but
It's better
it's
than nothing.
yeah. People who have major issues. I mean, thank God they're finally getting some new programs with psilocybins and stuff. But
Totally.
yeah,
And again, like any program,
it
because,
would probably be similar.
how long ago did we not even know that PTSD was the thing? And how long ago were we like, I wonder why grandpa is drunk all the time and beating his wife?
Yeah,
Maybe it's military PTSD. Like, hello.
yeah,
So, now we have that language. Great. Now we have these programs. Great. Similarly to that, and of course, I'm not saying that because I had cancer, I'm equal to like military. So please calm down, comment section. But like, I really don't see the mental chemistry difference, because like, even though the war is not external, it is still happening. Like, you're still fighting for your life.
absolutely. It's a very similar thing. Any kind of trauma can cause PTSD. The most extreme example that we see and that it gets talked about is people being in a war zone, which, whether you're in the battle or not, is, I guess, extremely crazy. I did a play where I was a war correspondent in the play, and we had a professor at the university come by who did this stuff, and he explained like why people like war correspondents, why people do it, and the war correspondents are much more, I'll just say, nutty than the soldiers. Like, soldiers that want to re-enlist have a certain thing going on. They want to get back in that fray. War correspondents do it for far longer
Yeah.
because they're not getting shot. They could at any second. But
Yeah.
it's nutty. But it's the same. It's the same kind of a thing.
Yeah. I mean, you're on the fray of
Yeah.
being in danger at all
Yes.
times. And, I've planned my funeral, and like,
Wow.
I had to have that conversation. And there were moments where I was like, I think this is maybe the end. Thankfully it wasn't. And most of those moments were self-inflicted, where I like did something stupid and got an infection and was like, and here we are in the hospital with 104 fever. Like, it's like, this is the end, and it's from something dumb. But yeah, so again, like, I do think it's important, and it would be nice just to have programs like that. And until they exist in a widespread awareness kind of way, I am not going to shut up about them.
That's good. I hope you don't.
I won't.
I mean, you won't. Yeah.
Listen, we've been talking for how long? I don't shut
We've
up.
been talking a little while. Which reminds me, I probably should wrap up this podcast sometime soon.
Let me capitalize on all of your time.
No, I love it. I love it. This is my favorite kind of podcast. That's why I said in the beginning, how much I usually go an hour, but I'm never going to cut anyone off. I hope.
Well, listen, feel free to cut me off.
I try not to. We'll wrap it up here. When you're closer to the festival or after the festival, you could come back on.
I would love to.
That would
do
be
like a little, where are they now?
Yeah, where are they now? It's always good. It's always fun to have guests back and see what's going on with them and see what kind of stuff but this advocacy is important, and it's kind of a little shocking that it doesn't exist, but I guess what I was trying to say is it doesn't exist for a lot of things. I think we all have PTSD from COVID. I'm getting
and we're
better.
All going to have PTSD from
all that.
The government.
The government, definitely. From living in. I've been watching The Twilight Zone. We watch this every year around this time. We used to watch. It used to be on like for 24 hours, all the episodes. But anyway, it just doesn't seem as far-fetched.
It sure doesn't.
Episodes are like, wait a minute.
That is.
He wrote this in the 50s?
So funny.
Oh my God.
It's now a documentary.
Yeah. How did he know? How did that guy know?
Oh, man.
Really nutty. Really nutty. Okay, well, listen. Thank you so much. It's been amazing having you on. Really appreciated talking to you.
Same.
And
and were you still talking? No, but I was.
see where it comes from?
I do. Guilty. I'm the problem.
I love it. It's called the long form podcast. It's not
long emphasis on the long.
Not a short story. I never know when people come on what they're going to be like. I love meeting new people, which kind of surprises me a little bit, but you never know. Like, I've only had one person give 1 or 2 word answers. Everyone else has been great about. I know exactly. It's like when you do it on a podcast, dude.
Like, well, this has been great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was not an hour. I'll just say that. It was not an hour long. But then when I've done them here, and when you're face to face, I think this is why Joe Rogan goes so long. When you're just sitting there in a comfortable space, you can go on forever.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Yeah, I can just go and go and go. So I'll do my little shtick here. This has been. Were you still talking? This is Joel Albrecht, and we had a short conversation today with Edward Miskie. He is, well, you heard it. He's a fantastic advocate for PTSD from cancer and surviving cancer, which you would think would be a great thing, and it is a great thing, but there's more to do. After that happens, you can get all this information. Actually, it'll only be 1 or 2 things in the show notes. Read the show notes. They'll be right below the podcast. Thank you for listening. I know most people listen. And again, thank you so much for coming on. It's been really great.
Thank you for having me.